and welcome to the Teacher of the Year Spotlight Show 2026. Every day in classrooms all across our community, moments of inspiration, challenge, and growth are happening, often behind closed doors. This show emphasizes the transformative power of education and the dedication of educators. There's a saying that a good education can change anyone, but a good teacher can change everything. Today, we shine the spotlight on educators who demonstrate this truth every day, rising to the occasion to meet the needs of our students with compassion and creativity. Their work changes lives, and today we recognize their outstanding commitment. Get ready to meet the remarkable individuals named Teacher of the Year for their respective schools. And welcome to our Teacher of the Year Spotlight Show. So excited at this time to welcome to our Teacher of the Year Spotlight Show the wonderful Miss Sarai Major, who's the Teacher of the Year over at Francis K. Sweet Elementary School. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
She's brought along with her the very proud principal there, Dr. Makita Brome. Doc, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Perry.
It is a pleasure for us to have this opportunity. We love in St. Lucie County recognizing our colleagues. And this is an opportunity for us to not only recognize you, but to introduce some of the wonderful teachers that we have in St. Lucie Public Schools to our viewing audience. With that being said, would you briefly give us a little bit about your background?
My name is Sarai Major, and I was born in Bronx, New York. After graduating high school, I enlisted in the Army because I wanted to follow my father's footsteps. I was a combat medic. Once I finished my enlistment, I decided to relocate to Fort Pierce, Florida. And I worked at Florida Power & Light for 10 years as a nuclear security officer. I still had that burning desire to further my education and to teach. So I pursued my education. I put in my 2-week notice. I enrolled at Indian River State College. Once I completed my associate's degree, I applied to St. Lucie Schools, and I was hired at Bayshore Elementary School as an ESE paraprofessional. And from there, I also was the front office clerk. And at the time, my principal was Jackie Lynch. And once she found out I got my bachelor's degree, she offered me a 3rd grade teaching position, and I have been teaching 3rd grade ever since.
Awesome, awesome. I love Miss Lynch. She was my assistant. Dr. Brome, introduce yourself.
My name is Dr. Makita Brome. I am the proud principal of Francis K. Sweet Magnet School. I'm also proud to say, Dr. Perry, who sat across this table before.
Yes.
I was the 2020 St. Lucie Public Schools Teacher of the Year. Proud graduate of Indian River State College for my bachelor's, Florida Atlantic through the elite program, and Gold Nose FSU for my doctorate degree.
Okay, we'll take that, Dr. Brome. We'll take that. So, Ms. Major, have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher?
I have, as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a teacher. I remember coming home during my elementary school years and grabbing my stuffed animals and doll babies and putting them in my closet and literally teaching them everything I taught that day at school.
So when you think about your year as a medic and at the FP&L, but coming home to teaching, do you think that you pattern your work after a specific teacher or group of teachers?
I think there were teachers that influenced me, and even my father influenced me to always, strive and always further your education, stay hungry for knowledge. And I think that's what, and I still wanted to follow his footsteps. So I think joining the military helped me to serve my country. Even working at the power plant, I was, protecting it. But overall, I feel that It was more than one teacher, but it was definitely my father and all the teachers in my life that just kept me hungry to pursue where I'm at today.
What do you find to be the most enjoyable part of teaching?
The most enjoyable part of teaching is the children, but also seeing their growth from day one when they enter my classroom and how they grow from first coming in, their mentality. Some of them are very timid, afraid, and then by the time they leave, they're confident, they're stronger readers, and just seeing the amount of growth.
Dr. Brown, please describe Ms. Major for me using 3 adjectives and tell us why.
Oh my gosh, she's a seeker. So as she said before, she's a seeker of knowledge. She seeks to always do her best. She's a high achiever. Ms. Major is not going to settle for anything less than the best for her kids and for herself. And just dependable. I would say she is dependable. You can depend on Ms. Major to do it. You've asked her to do. You can depend on her to always make decisions that are always in the best interest of kids.
Ms. Major, today we find that there are many challenges that face the world of education. What do you find to be one of the most pressing challenges for education educators?
There are so many challenges facing education, but in my opinion, the challenge that I feel educators have today is attendance. If students are not in school, they can't learn. And when they do come to school, they're constantly playing catch up. So I feel that is the most pressing. Students have to be in school in order to learn, in order to grow.
So if you could change one thing in education, what would that be?
Providing more resources to families. I feel the school district, we try our best with providing for our students and families, but I feel that the community coming together and just providing more resources for parents and making them knowledgeable about the importance of school attendance and their students arriving to school well rested. So I think just targeting the homes.
Dr. Brome, if I were to visit Mrs. Major's class, what would I see?
She'll talk about this a little bit later on, but you're going to see a tribe in her classroom. She creates a classroom space where all of her kids are a family, and she molds them where they're committed to the success of each other. So you won't see children just working by themselves. They're going to be working in groups. You're going to see kids coaching each other up. Like, she teaches them in a manner where Johnny is going to help Susie with her work. Johnny's going to help her sound out the words, going to help her do the work. So she empowers students to take ownership of their learning, and not only their learning, the learning of their other classmates. There's high demand in her class, so you're going to see the rigor that is at and above the standards each time, but you're also going to see her providing the support so every student can meet her high expectations.
So, Ms. Major, we asked you to bring along a prop with you that kind of talks about you, describes you as an educator. Would you mind sharing that with us at this time, please?
So this is my prop.
There's a tribe.
And I have this in my classroom to not only allow my students to visually see and be able to read I Love My Tribe, but also for them to remember that we're not just teacher and student. We are actually a family. We're a tribe, and we want to love one another and accept our differences and help each other achieve our one goal, which is to get promoted to 4th grade, and using our strengths to get there together as one family.
So you're the Teacher of the Year for Francis K. Sweet. A lot of times we have new teachers on our campus. What advice would you give to a new teacher?
The advice I would give is always ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask. It makes you more knowledgeable. You want to always ask. If you don't understand something, if a teacher is teaching a specific standard and you realize that their students are getting it, don't be afraid to just ask and say, what are you doing? Share your tips and strategies.
So, Dr. Brome, tell us, what makes Mrs. Major the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year?
She's all in. Dr. Perry. No matter what you ask Ms. Major to do, she's all in. She is a well-rounded teacher, so you'll see that from her results. But more than that, Ms. Major participates and helps organize like our Veterans Day event. As a veteran, she marches in it. She's been recognized for that. You'll find her our after-school programs. For students, you'll find her translating. She hasn't said that, but Ms. Major will translate for us when we have our events and we need somebody Spanish speaking. So she's all in and committed to the success of students. Like she said, needing the resources for parents. She has gotten different certifications to make sure she can provide those resources to not only our ESC students, but our English speakers of other languages. So she is committed to the whole child. Again, academics is great, but she is committed to helping the child in whatever place they're at. And that kind of teacher is who you want at your school and who you want to be your teacher of the year every single time.
So, Ms. Major, let's wrap it up. You are the ambassador for education at Francis K. Sweet. You'll have an opportunity to speak to school board members, superintendent, community members. What's your message?
My message is education is the keys to the kingdom. It will open up doors and provide opportunities. Being educated will give you the knowledge to know which doors to go through and which opportunities to take advantage of.
Awesome. Dr. Brome, thank you, Ms. Major. Thank you both for joining us on the show today, letting us highlight you, and congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
Excited at this time to have the opportunity to speak with Ms. Claudia Izquierdo, who is the wonderful Teacher of the Year over at Fort Pierce Westwood High School. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We are excited to have this chance because it lets us introduce some of the dynamic teachers that we have in St. Lucie County to the viewers that tune in to our show every day. At Westwood High School, what do you teach there?
Spanish.
You're the Spanish teacher.
Yeah.
¿Qué pasa?
Muy bien.
That's my Spanish.
Yeah,
That's my
Spanish 2 and Cambridge ACE.
And the Cambridge ACE, okay. So that means you're teaching some upper level students?
Yes.
Cool, cool. And how long have you been at Westwood?
6 years now.
6 years there. You'll see that I have a special affinity for Westwood because I too was a teacher at Westwood High School. Have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher?
No.
So what brought you to teaching?
When I arrived here to Port St. Lucie 6 years ago, I decided to change my career, and because I want to be involved with the people, with the community, and I applied for be a paraprofessional in St. Lucie schools in Southern Oak.
Okay.
And my teacher said, you can be a good teacher. I said, really? Okay. So I begin all the process to get the certification, and because I have a bachelor degree from my country in Colombia, so it was more easy. And I begin checking for opportunities. Human resources say Westwood have an opening. But I remember somebody say, if you stay in Westwood 6 months, you can teach in any school around the country. And now it's my 6 years.
6 years. So what do you find to be most enjoyable about teaching?
Share with my students, totally share with them. We are a community that have a lot of different kind of students.
Yes.
The community is very rich in very countries, very different population, Hispanic from different countries too. And I enjoy to with them a lot.
There's a lot of things happening in education, the changes and the forward movement, the accountability, those things that are part of our educational process. What do you find to be one of the biggest challenges in education today?
Technology.
Tell me more.
Because the students now, when I grew up in Colombia, I am from Colombia, I arrived to this country 26 years ago, the education was totally different. We memorize, we work with our hands, we only have books. But now the students have in technology all the answers, they suppose that have all the answers, and that is a conflict because the students at this moment, they don't want to memorize things, use the brain more than before. So that is a big challenge.
So, what gives you on a daily basis the greatest career satisfaction?
See the faces of my students. When they ask, Miss I want to learn more about this, or they say, I want to be in your class next year, is possible. So that made me happy because I know that they enjoy.
As a teacher of the year, 6 years in at that school, you often call on to give some advice to others. What advice would you give to a brand new teacher?
Discipline. Discipline, commitment, and perseverance. You need to set the rules in your class the first day of the school. You need to be friend, nice with your students, respectful, but discipline and consistency, and teach like example.
Okay.
Because if you don't follow the rules, the students will not follow the rules.
So I'll flip that and ask you, you've given advice to a new teacher. What advice would you give to a parent to help them ensure that their students will be successful in your class?
The same.
The same.
The same. Discipline, perseverance, consistency. And I know because I am a parent too. And that 3 goals help me succeed with my 2 sons. So I know. And my sons came from the same system like here. They go to the college. They do dual enrollment. And they graduate. My son is 23 years old, and he have master in Boston University. And my other son is in UF. So my 2 kids are example that the system work. All the system works. Absolutely. The system works.
So during your time as a teacher, what has been your proudest achievement?
To see how the students change in life during the year. Recognize them more. How they succeed. How my influence made them go to study. We have the college. The college can be free. Bright future. Study because it's an example. I am right here, like I said before, 26 years ago, I don't speak English. I only have $1,000 in my pocket. But I got it. If I survive like immigrant, if I survive in the system, if I grow, I did my master, I am doing my doctor now. My 2 kids too. So the system work and education is important.
Education is important,
absolutely.
Yes. So one last question for you. As the teacher of the year for Westwood High School, you are the ambassador for education. You may have an opportunity to speak to our school board members, the superintendent, some county officers. What would your message about education be to them?
Maybe I will advocate more for translation resources for
translation resources.
Yeah, for parents. Give more information for the students, for the parents. Use the community. Involve more with the community. I know everybody has different, but we have a lot of charts around the city. We have a really good system that we can maybe involve more parents and give more information for them.
We are excited that you have been selected the Teacher of the Year. We're excited that you came today to let us introduce you to our viewing audience. Your presence here helps us share with them what's right, what's good, what's best in St. Lucie Public Schools because you represent the teachers at Westwood, but teachers all across the district.
Yes, absolutely.
So thank you for sharing
Thank
with us
you,
today.
doctor. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
We are proud to welcome at this time Miss Alicia Virgo, who is the wonderful Teacher of the Year over at Lakewood Park Elementary School. Welcome, Miss Virgo.
Hello. Oh, thank you for having me.
Yes, she has brought along with her the very awesome principal there, Miss Kathleen Melrose. Miss Melrose, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Super excited to be here.
We are excited to have this opportunity to speak with you, Ms. Virgo, because it lets us introduce some dynamic teachers to our viewing audience. So would you briefly tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes, this is my 10th year teaching. I went to school at Barry University in Miami. I taught in Miami for 7 years, and this is now my 3rd year here at St. Lucie County.
Well, we're glad you're here. We're
Yes,
glad you're here.
I'm very happy to be here.
Ms. Melrose, would you briefly introduce yourself to the viewers?
Yes, hi, I'm Kathleen Melrose. I'm the proud principal of Lakewood Park Elementary, and this is my 4th year as a Falcon, and it is a great place to be.
So, Ms. Virgo, tell us, did you always know that you wanted to be a teacher?
I always knew that I wanted to work with children. My mom has been a teacher for as long as I can remember. So growing up watching her and even spending time in her classroom and watching the impact that she made on her students inspired me from an early age to go into teaching, yes.
Knowing that you were a staff kid and your mom was a teacher, do you think you patterned your work after mom?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, she's always been very firm. You know, she has instilled in me to be dedicated to what it is that I put my mind to for when I was younger, to put education first. So those are the things that I try to, to lead after.
So what do you find to be the most enjoyable part of teaching?
I enjoy getting to know my students. They're all so different. They're interesting in so many ways. Each year is like a whole new world with the different group of kids that I get a chance to meet, and I find joy in that. And I find joy in seeing them light up, just knowing that I am interested, in that part of them.
So, Mrs. Melrose, you get to see the magic happen every day.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to visit, we stopped by Ms. Virgo's class, what would I see?
You're going to see kids fully engaged. You're going to see kids doing the work. You're going to see the teacher not letting kids off the hook. She holds all of her students accountable, and she wants to make sure that they are successful. And it's funny when she described her mom with that firmness. She also has that firmness about her, but that love. Like, immediately how much she loves her kids and how much her kids love her from the moment you walk into that classroom. But man, you're going to see kids working.
So describe her for me using 3 adjectives and tell us why you've chosen those.
Yeah, so it's funny actually, what she was saying, my first one is definitely dedicated, because she is committed to the success of each and every one of her students. And then empathetic, because she really gets to know her kids personally, and she meets their needs in every level, from their emotional needs to their academic needs. So she really makes those connections, which is super important to the growth of students. And I want to say innovative, because she'll adapt. according to whatever her kids need and where they are in those moments, she makes those quick adjustments and adapts according to every student.
So, Ms. Virgo, when did you first fall in love with teaching? Not just like in love with teaching.
I think I first fell in love with teaching during my internship. Of course, I knew I wanted to teach. I knew, that this is what I wanted to do. But I had the teacher's classroom that I was in. She was an excellent mentor. She helped me to build confidence as an educator, even just at the start of my career. And she showed me a different way, where I didn't have to be loud or someone that I'm not. She really showed me that I can put my personality into my classroom and into my teacherness, and really make it my own. She was extremely supportive, and she let me lead in her classroom in ways that I never thought that I could at that point in my career. And from then, I've just been on a growth journey and continue to learn and grow, and I'm just really grateful for that experience.
Tell me, what do you think is one of the most pressing challenges facing education?
I think one of the biggest challenges has to do with technology. Technology has a lot of wonderful benefits that we use every day, but there are also some challenges and hindrances that our students face with maybe not really taking the ownership and thinking that they should. I try to guide my students to thinking for themselves and to have their own mind. But I know for a lot of young people, the fast access to technology and things on the internet could really hold them back.
So, Ms. Melrose, tell me, what makes Ms. Virgo the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year?
When you step inside of her classroom, it's evident. Her interaction with her students, how she gets her students to grow. Her data is absolutely amazing. But she also serves the entire school. When I have a teacher that needs to visit a classroom so they can see instruction, I take them to her room. Not like she was always comfortable with that, but she has adapted to that because she is an outstanding teacher. From the way she starts her day to the way she ends her day, her communication with families, she's just all around the perfect teacher.
So, Ms. Virgo, let's talk about your prop. I asked you to bring a prop with you today that kind of describes you and has some meaning to you as an educator. Share with us at this time.
Okay, so I brought my Bible, which is not used much because I just got it for Christmas. So I brought this because my walk with God and my belief in Christ really is a foundation for the way that I teach and the way that I strive to inspire my students and really lead with love. And every relationship that I build with my students, I try to be, the best version of myself that I can be, to really instill in them the love and the patience and, all of the qualities that we learn in the Bible. And it's also a reminder for me that I am not perfect. Mistakes happen, but we are all on a journey and we need each other to get to where we need to go. And I want to be that person for my students.
So let's play a speed round. I'm going to throw some things out at you and you respond quickly. Favorite food?
Italian food.
Favorite restaurant?
Oh, this is hard. I don't know if I have a favorite restaurant, but me and my husband go to Longhorn Steakhouse often.
Okay. It works for me.
Yeah.
Favorite movie?
The Truman Show.
Don't know that one.
No.
I'll have to look that one up.
Yes,
okay.
it's really good.
Favorite sports team?
Okay. I don't watch a lot of sports, but my husband told me to say Manchester United.
Okay, we'll go with, I thought your husband was going to say the Steelers. They won last night. They pulled it off. Yes.
You know what I would want you to say.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Favorite song?
Never Would Have Made It by Marvin Sapp.
Okay, I know it well. So, Mr. Melrose,
Yes.
is there anything else that you would want to share with us about the awesome Mrs. Virgo?
So I think about everything that she just said, and I know you haven't asked me, but I'm going to say it anyway, the hashtag
Okay.
learning with love, because that is her room. You know, she wants to create an environment where kids feel safe to make mistakes, safe to know it's okay to make a mistake, and safe to grow. And that is just what is so dynamic and so amazing about her.
Awesome. So, Mr. Virgo, let's wrap it up. You are the ambassador for education. You have an opportunity to speak with policymakers. What's your message?
I want everyone to know and truly understand how valuable educators are. We have the opportunity to impact so many lives. We not only teach curriculum, academics, but we teach life skills. We teach emotional intelligence. We teach critical thinking, all of the skills that will hopefully stick with our students throughout the rest of their lives to bring with them as they grow older and become, you know, the next leaders in our society. So I would just say that we need the support, not just from families, but from members of the community. And support looks like many different things, but that's what I would say. Support our teachers.
Support. Wonderful way to end. Thank you, Ms. Virgo. Thank you, Ms. Melrose, for joining us today. And congratulations on being Teacher of the Year.
Thank you so much.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
Excited to welcome to our Teacher of the Year Spotlight Show today, Caitlin Wallace, who's the wonderful Teacher of the Year at Rivers Edge Elementary School. Ms. Wallace, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
She's brought along with her the awesome principal there, Mr. William Bickley. Welcome, Mr. B.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Thank you. We get excited about doing this show every year for the main reason that it gives us a chance to introduce just a few teachers to our viewing community, because we know that you represent the brightest and the best of them all by being selected Teacher of the Year. So before we get rolling, would you briefly give us some of your background?
All right, I am Caitlin Wallace, and I have been teaching now for 4 years. This is my 4th year, 3rd grade at Rivers Edge. I've been there ever since. I was born and raised in Fort Lauderdale, and I took the scenic route to teaching. It took me a little bit longer to get here. However, I've always known that I wanted to do it, and so when I interviewed at Rivers Edge, I fell in love, and it's felt like home ever since.
Awesome. Mr. Bickley, introduce yourself, please.
Yes, Bill Bickley. It's my 2nd year as a principal, Rivers Edge. Very proud to be the principal there, and very grateful to be a part of St. Lucie Public Schools. Just having a tremendous experience here around all the great leadership and just a great level of support and professionalism here in St. Lucie.
Again, welcome to both of you. So, Mrs. Wallace, what do you make of being chosen as the Teacher of the Year for Rivers Edge?
It's surreal. Honestly, I was really surprised because there are so many deserving educators that I work alongside every day. I am flattered and humbled, but really it is just such an honor to be recognized for my hard work. I am really, really dedicated and devoted to my craft and to my students and making sure that I do the best I can for them, and I really appreciate it.
So you told us that you took the scenic route to being a teacher, but you also said in that statement that you always knew that you wanted to. Because you knew that you wanted to, when you look at yourself today, your reflection, do you see that you pattern yourself or that you have the influence of a teacher or a group of teachers that help you every day?
Absolutely. I'm partnered with one of the best teachers in the world. She's been my partner for the last 3 years, Miss Whalen. I believe she was a student of yours, actually.
Oh, you're dating me? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
but so she's incredibly inspiring. I mean, everybody that I work with, they're all amazing. It's such a unique experience at River's Edge. Everybody feels like family there. And so I don't think that there's a day that has gone by that I haven't felt like I've learned from somebody there.
Great. So tell me, what do you find to be the most enjoyable part of teaching?
My students. No 2 days are alike. So seeing my students smiling and excited to come into my classroom, excited to learn math, it's incredibly rewarding and enjoyable.
So, Mr. Bickley, I'm stopped by one day this week and say, hey, take me to your Teacher of the Year's class. When we walk in, what would I experience?
You would feel like Miss Wallace's classroom is very inviting. So when you walk in, the classroom is meticulously organized. It just has this, you can tell she's been thoughtful in her planning. She's intentional about everything she does. So you have that feeling, the direction, the learning intentions are very clear when you go in there. And she just has a confidence about her as she teaches the students. She is very collaborative in the way that she sets up structures for students and pushes them so that they become owners of their learning. Ms. Wallace is an early adopter of the building thinking classrooms at our school. So you'll see a lot of those elements within her classroom, a lot of great collaboration and interdependence between students, and students really needing to do the thinking, therefore they're doing the learning. Her classroom, it has a nice energetic feel to it. Again, she's very prepared in everything she does, but she goes really deep in trying to come up with creative and engaging ways to meet her students' needs. So you can see that engagement in the students' faces, and you hear a lot of accountable talk from the students as well, because she makes it very clear what her expectations are for the level of thinking that they need to do in that classroom. It's just a beautiful place to learn. It really is.
So describe her for me using 3 adjectives, and then tell us why you've chosen those 3.
Okay. I would say conscientious. That speaks to her diligence and just, again, she is very detail-oriented and organized. She really is meticulous and thinks through everything and wants to be the very best. So I would say conscientious for sure. I would have to mention creative as well. She's incredibly creative. She creates so many materials that align with her curriculum, but that engage students in new and refreshing ways. We know that students need that novelty of learning. A lot of times they cannot do the same thing over and over and over again and expect to keep their attention. So she comes up with great ways for them to engage with the material and with each other. So conscientious, I would say creative, and I would say consistent as well. It's something at River's Edge we've been talking a lot about consistency this year, looking at trajectory changing schools and the fact that in those schools there's a consistency from classroom to classroom to classroom. And the way that we talk about stacking good days. So it doesn't matter. You say you come to River's Edge, you want to go see our Teacher of the Year's classroom, you're going to see a consistent product every single day because she is so consistent with the level of engagement, with the level of intentionality, and the level of learning that her students demonstrate. So you'll see those things.
So, Ms. Wallace, tell me, being conscientious, creative, consistent, all of that helps you to do the job that you do each and every day. But tell me, when did you first fall in love with teaching?
I first fell in love with teaching when I finally got my own classroom. It was like a blank canvas, and it was mine, and I had these students that became my family, and it was a little bit crazy and chaotic and overwhelming at times. I mean, the first year for any teacher is hard. It's still a hard job.
Oh, yeah.
But I kept wanting to go back, so I knew that I loved it.
What do you consider to be one of the greatest challenges facing education today?
I feel like a lot of people will say technology, and I agree with that, but I think that there's a little more to it. I think that people are so used to that instant gratification that comes from technology that people don't appreciate that good things take time and you have to work at it. And so I see that technology is a huge challenge, and apathy.
Okay. So, Mr. Bickley, what makes Mr. Wallace the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year?
I think in your opening you talked about being the best and brightest. I can sit here and say that out of really, really great staff, excellent teachers, she is our best and brightest. Our theme of the year is Heart of the Champion, and I believe Ms. Wallace encompasses exactly what it means to have the heart of a champion. She wants to excel, and she's willing to put in the hard work in order to do that. She's responsive to her student needs, and she cares really deeply because she wants those outcomes for her students.
Ms. Wallace, tell me, when will you know that you have been a success?
I'm not a success. I'm kidding.
Of course you are. The brightest and the best.
Honestly, every day I feel like I'm winning in some way, whether it is just supporting my students, making sure that they understand something. So I like to celebrate all the small wins. I wouldn't say that there's any one thing that would measure my success other than that I'm happy, my students are happy, and we learn, work hard.
So we ask you to bring along with you a prop. That prop kind of describes you as an educator. Share with us at this time.
My prop is my necklace. It is a gold heart, but it has my dad's thumbprint engraved in it. He passed away a few years ago, but he was one of my biggest supporters, and he was very, very good at celebrating even the smallest things. Sometimes, like, the silliest things, but it reminds me to celebrate all of the small wins and big wins, but it helps me kind of keep my ground.
So let's wrap it up.
Yep.
As the Teacher of the Year at Rivers Edge, you are automatically their ambassador for education. You have an opportunity to speak with policymakers, superintendents, school board members, parents. What's your message?
Oh, I'd have a bunch of different messages. For parents, I'd say make sure you're involved in your child's learning. I would say give the trust back to the teachers some. Trust us and empower us to do what we do best. And I would say, like, every student deserves a champion. So I feel like when teachers are empowered and trusted and students are championed, then everybody would thrive.
Congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year at Rivers Edge. Thank you, Mr. Bickley. Thank you for joining us as well. And we can't wait to continue to celebrate you.
Thank you.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
it's time to welcome to our show the wonderful Miss Jillian Clasby, who's the awesome Teacher of the Year over at Dan McCarty Middle School. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
She's brought along with her our great friend, who just happens to be the Principal of the Year for St. Lucie Public Schools, the wonderful Miss Latricia Stubbs James. Welcome, Principal James.
Thank you, Dr. Perry.
Again, we're excited to have this opportunity to speak with both of you. Doing this show each year, we know it takes time from you, but it gives us an opportunity to share with our regular viewers some of the dynamic teachers that we have in St. Lucie County, because we know that you are a representative of the brightest and the best. So it gives them a peek into our world. With that being said, I would ask that you briefly introduce yourself to our viewers.
Okay, my name is Jillian Clasby. It's my 20th year teaching this year. I went to public school and from kindergarten. Okay.
Public school.
Yep, and then I went to college at FAU. I come from a very big family who's all from Fort Pierce as well.
Yes, that name rings a bell. Yeah. Ms. Stubbs James, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I am Latricia Stubbs James. I am the proud principal of Dan McCarty Middle School, hailing from a small town, rural Georgia. I attended Blakely County High School and attended school at the Savannah State University. And this is my actual 5th year of being a principal at Dan McCarty Middle School. I love my teachers, I love my faculty and staff, and especially am delighted to be here today to really give everybody a glimpse into Ms. Clasby and what she does on a daily basis in the classroom that highlighted her as our Teacher of the Year.
So Ms. Clasby, tell us, have you always known that you wanted to be an educator?
I believe from a very young age I did know that. I met my best friend in the 3rd grade, and we would play school, you know, and at the end of the year I remember the teachers would empty all their things out, throw away papers and things, and we would collect them, all the little math sheets and handwriting, and then we would go home and set up our rooms as, you know, little classrooms, and then we actually went all the way to school together, and now she's a principal. We went to college together, and that was both of our first jobs right out of college.
Cool. So tell me this, because you kind of knew, do you think there was a teacher or a group of teachers that served as an influence to how you work today?
Well, I wouldn't say it was a teacher, but my grandmother, because I come from a very big family, they started a daycare when we were little, basically for my relatives, because I'm one of 20-some grandkids.
Okay.
So,
big family.
Yes. So, but my grandmother, she always loved kids and loved people, and she was the most graceful, kind person. And she just is who I've modeled myself after.
Gotcha.
Since I was little.
So what do you find as the most enjoyable part of teaching?
The most enjoyable part of teaching for me would have to be every day when I go to work, it doesn't feel like a job to me. It feels like I get up and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. 'Cause some people are like, oh, I have to go to work today, you know? And when I go to work at Dan McCarty, I just feel like it's where I'm supposed to be. What else am I going to do all day? You know, I just feel like it's what I should be doing.
So, Ms. Stubbs James, you have an opportunity to see magic happen in her class every day. Give us a peek of what we might experience if we visited.
So if you visit Ms. Clasby's classroom, what you're going to see is a classroom that is inviting, rigorous, and also a place where students are really assessed at an individualized level and differentiated instruction. So one of the things that I admire about Ms. Clasby and being in her classroom is that she has coined the term for us with differentiation. So she works with students that we would consider students that are reading below grade level. And so because of that, it takes a person with a specific skill set, and that is Ms. Clasby. So she has been an instrumental part of our leadership team and growing not only our teachers but our students academically. So some of the things that you'll see in her classroom is that she runs a specific program that is a phonics-based program. She actually works with the students. She determines where the students are, places them at a particular level, and then she begins small group instruction with those students right away. And the most impactful part about that is that our students that are in the 6th grade that enter coming well below grade level, by the end of the year, those students have made instrumental growth. And then also on top of that, a lot of the students that she has are students that are ELL students. So she works with some of our students that are struggling with learning the English language, and she really helps to make sure that those students are on target for where they need to be.
So describe her for me using 3 adjectives and tell me why you've chosen those 3.
Miss Clasby, I would describe her as fun. I would also describe her as very driven. And then also, I would describe her as an authentic team player. She has taken on some roles that have required her to really take some teachers under her wing and show them the programs that we use, and she has been phenomenal at doing that. Oftentimes teachers will come up to me and comment on Ms. Clasby and how she has helped them and supported them and really been instrumental in the turnaround that happened at Dan McCarty. I was able to acquire Ms. Clasby my first year as principal at Dan McCarty Middle School, and that obviously it was a school in turnaround, and she did not she took the challenge. And a lot of people, especially when you're comfortable in your career, may not have wanted to do that. And she did. She came on at Dan McCarty, took on the challenge, and really helped to be instrumental in our turnaround. So when we talk about turnaround schools and the teacher leaders and master teachers that you need to facilitate that, Ms. Clasby is one of those teachers.
So Ms. Clasby, tell me this. You had the opportunity to take teachers under your wings. What advice would you give to a new teacher?
To a new teacher, don't give up, because your first year is going to be pretty hard, and don't hesitate to ask people for advice, because I notice a lot of times people don't come up to you and ask you, what can I do to help you? If you go seek out other people that you know do a good job and that you want to be like, you want to get help from, don't hesitate to ask for advice, because people are willing to give it once you ask.
Tell me, when did you first fall in love with teaching?
Every day. Every day is a new day.
New day.
Every day is something different. You never know. You could have something planned for the whole day and you have to figure it out differently because something happens. So, like I said, I don't feel like it's a job having to come every day. So every day is just something new. You have a new student or something new to do. So every day seems to be fresh and fun.
Tell me, Ms. Stubbs James, what makes Ms. Clasby the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year?
I think that what makes Ms. Clasby the perfect candidate is that Ms. Clasby, although she's been teaching for 20 years, she's always willing to try something different and learn. And in school transformation, there have been many times where I've come to Ms. Clasby and said, Ms. Clasby, we need you to take this on. And she's never turned us down. And so that is what makes her really special. Last year in particular, we had a teacher and we lost a teacher. And in doing so, I asked Ms. Clasby to take on and teach every single student in 6th grade through intensive reading. And it was a challenge. It was a challenge for us to overcome, but she was able to do that. And 6th grade last year had the biggest learning gains ever. And all of that was a part of her contribution and being able to take on a challenge and do something that was outside of the norm. So teaching 130 kids throughout the day for 45 minutes is very tiring. And so Ms. Clasby has always taken on the challenge, and so that is something that I really admire about her.
So Ms. Clasby, we ask you to bring a prop that kind of describes you as an educator. Share with us at this time.
Well, I brought my keys because I lock myself out of my classroom often.
All the time.
So, and once you close your keys in the door, it locks behind you. So I was thinking, I was like, what could I describe? You think about the prop. So I feel like my teaching career is kind of like my keys. You are prepared when you have the necessary things you need, like your keys. You're going to get in the door, you're going to get out, you're ready to start your day. But so I'm halfway to go get my kids from lunch, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where's my keys? So then I'm thinking, like, who could I ask to unlock my door? Am I coming across anybody? What am I going to do on my way back? So I feel like teaching for me is, you're usually planned and prepared, but there's things you have to do on the spot all the time and adjust and figure things out quickly. So on the days I have my keys, it's pretty good.
Smooth sailing.
But then, there's the days where I have to stop and ask somebody for help.
Okay, cool.
it.
So you are the ambassador for education at Dan McCarty. You have an opportunity to speak with the superintendent, school board members. What's your message to them?
My message would be, when I first started Dan McCarty, I'm not going to lie, I was a little intimidated, because you hear Dan McCarty, and sometimes people think of that as it's a tough school. This will be my fifth year here, and working at Dan McCarty, I've worked at 3 other schools. It's no different than any other school. It's just the same. The kids are the same. It's your classroom. I do work with such great teachers there, and what a good system it is to have such a good principals and other teachers supporting you. So my message to people would be, don't think of Dan McCarty as the tough school, or just with whatever this stigma that it's had on it, because it is one of the best middle schools in St. Lucie County.
Yeah.
So don't think, use an open mind when you think about Dan McCarty.
Well, that's why you're the teacher of the year there.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah, kids are kids.
Right.
And they're kids, whether they're in Fort Pierce, whether they're in Port St. Lucie, whether they're in Dan McCarty, whether they're in Southport, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're still kids. But it has been a pleasure having this opportunity to speak with you, Ms. Claspy.
You too.
Thank you, Ms. Stubbs-James. Thank you for joining us today as we celebrate Teaching and Teachers of the Year.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
So excited at this time to welcome my old student, Leanne Carangelo, to our Teacher of the Year celebration. Now, I'm excited. Why? Because I was the Teacher of the Year at Westwood shortly after she graduated, and now to see one of my students sitting in the seat as a Teacher of the Year for their school, congratulations and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
She's brought along with her my beautiful friend, Jacqueline Lee, who's the awesome principal over there. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
So you're representing Oak Hammock K-8 school as their Teacher of the Year. Tell me, what do you make of about being selected the Teacher of the Year?
I think it's a great honor. I work with great teachers, great staff, faculty and staff, and to be chosen by your peers, it's very special.
It is. It very much is. So have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher?
I think so. I took a little break after graduating. I went through the school system here, kindergarten through 12th grade.
And what high school did you graduate from?
From Westwood.
From Westwood High School. For what's a Panther?
Always a Panther.
Okay. We got that in.
And so I got a master's degree and went overseas for a few years. And when I came back, I started teaching here.
Okay. So when you think about being a teacher, would you say that you have been influenced by some teachers, and if so, who?
Oh, absolutely. I think back in high school, for sure, both Mr. and Mrs. Huey were language arts teachers, and they kind of got me back on the straight and narrow when I started to sway a little bit. I remember Mr. Huey said, I really want to recommend you for the AP class next year, but you skipped too much school. And that was it. I never skipped school again. Because I wanted to be in those AP classes. So yeah, so I think definitely the Hueys. I think, you know, under your leadership in band, you know.
Uh-oh, I didn't pay her to say that. I did not pay.
He did not. But you know, but just it wasn't just band. It was being a leader and learning how to be a leader. And I think, you know, a lot of my teachers through the years in St. Lucie County, you know, all through the years, made sure they weren't just teaching us but preparing us.
So when you think about your career, your time as a teacher, what do you find to be the most rewarding?
Well, I work with special ed students, a lot of them who are in middle school and can't read, or really struggle reading. And, you know, just watching them grow. And, you know, I had a student go from a level 1 to a level 2 on the FAST test, and that was just unbelievable, you know, and he was so excited, and I was so excited, and I honestly totally forgot the question. But, you know, just the whole aspect of, you know, being with the students and cheering on their successes and watching them grow. You know, again, it's that whole not just teaching them to read, but preparing them for life kind of thing.
Let me ask you one other question before we move on. When you think about your time again as a teacher, when can you honestly say you actually fell in love with teaching? Not just liking it, but fell in love with it.
I probably couldn't pinpoint exactly, but it was probably sometime my first year. I just remember I was at Westgate, and Mr. Cramner was my principal, and he was a great principal and just very mentoring type, you know, especially for our first year teacher. And I just remember being in class sometimes and just looking at my class going, yeah, this is really cool. I really like this, you know, and it's just, it was that niche is that, you know, I've done middle school for 18 years. I love middle school. And I love it. Love it.
Well, you have to be different to love it.
Yeah. I understand.
Miss Lee, you have the opportunity to watch magic happen with Miss Carangelo every day. If I were to stop by and you said, come on, Doc, let's take a walk, and we walked into a room, what would we experience?
So as an ESE support teacher, she provides interventions to students outside of the core instruction. And so really she has to meet students where they are. And as a result, the students feel very comfortable in her classroom. They're comfortable receiving their accommodations. In fact, really, she helps them eventually advocate for them when they are out in, you know, all of their classroom settings. She's so student-centered based on individual students' needs. And really, if that requires an extra set of manipulatives, technology, whatever it is that the students really need, she puts it in front of them.
Describe her for me using 3 adjectives and tell me why you've chosen those 3.
So she is, number 1, collaborative. She is collaborative with our leadership team, and she's also collaborative with the language arts department, the ESE team. You know, being an ESE support teacher and also being a leader on our campus means that she needs to naturally be able to collaborate with all different parts of the school, and she does an excellent job with that. She's also very structured, so when the students come into the classroom, it's very routine oriented. They know what to expect, and it really does set them up for success. And I think finally, the student-centered, again, going back to that, really making sure that what she's putting in front of the students are what they need and are successful.
So, Ms. Carangelo, Ms. Lee mentioned collaboratives, being student-centered, but you mentioned about loving middle school. So tell me, what inspires you?
What inspires me? I mean, it seems like a pat answer, but the kids really do. I mean, middle school is such a hard place to be anyway, and then when you're coming in with a learning disability, it even makes it that much harder, you know. So the way that I see them advocate for themselves, the way that I see them try new things out to see if it'll work, you know, to be able to come to me with their frustrations, you know, and I think the middle school is just, it's great. I can't imagine teaching anything else.
So Ms. Lee, tell me, what makes Ms. Carangelo the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year?
I think how she described being honored, being selected by her peers, and I agree with that. I think that's quite an honor, and I don't think that they came by that easily. I think what they selected was someone that well represented, you know, the teachers at OCAMIC, and they, you know, her colleagues greatly respect her and, you know, come to her for various, needs, whether they need support in the classroom with individual students or even just instructionally. She is known to be someone that they can come to and receive support without judgment. And she really, provides great care in that. And it is critically important. I can tell it's really important to her that she does that.
So, Ms. Carangelo, tell me, you being Teacher of the Year automatically makes you the ambassador for education for your school. Superintendent stops by, you have a command audience. What's your message?
I think for me it would focus on special education. I think I go to the new teacher orientations and help, the union there and stuff. And looking at the schedule, there's not any training for new teachers in that little section on special ed. I teach special ed professional developments for the district through the union. And so many times she was like, I never knew this. And I think I was the same way. I adopted my daughter and she came with an IEP, and as a teacher, I knew nothing about it, and adopting her and learning more about special education helps me become a better teacher. And just teaching the classes, teaching teachers how to read IEPs, just making sure they have some kind of little bit of training at least before they go into the classroom, because there's not going to be a teacher who doesn't have a student with an IEP. And so just making sure that teachers they know what an IEP is, how to read it, and just giving them some background in special ed, I think is crucially important for those students with disabilities.
So we asked you to bring along a prop with you that kind of describes you as an educator. Share with us.
Well, hopefully I can. So I brought this rock. My mom painted it after she had her stroke. She was paralyzed on the right-hand side, so she had to do everything with her left hand. And so number one teacher, she always thought I was the number one teacher. She just passed in October, and then was kind of, nice because I found out it wasn't nice that she passed, but I just found out on the Monday I was Teacher of the Year, and she always wanted that for me. And so I was able to tell her, and then she passed on Wednesday. And so it was just very special that I was able to share that with her, before she passed. And I always had this rock out in my classroom because I know she was always my biggest supporter, and she would get mad every year I wasn't Teacher of the Year. So, so why weren't you? So it was very special that I was able to share that with her.
Ms. Carangelo, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Congratulations on your selection as the Teacher of the Year. I'm proud. I'm trying to contain myself and hold it. I can't be biased. Yes, I can. Yes. And Ms. Lee, thank you both for sharing with us and being with us today. And we bid you nothing but the best.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
Excited to have with us right now Ms. Brian Slocum, who's the wonderful Teacher of the Year over at Lincoln Park Academy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
She's brought along with her my great friend, the proud principal there, Dr. Michelle Harrington, to the show. Welcome, Doc.
Thank you, Dr. Perry.
It is a pleasure to have an opportunity to speak with both of you as we celebrate Teacher of the Year here in St. Lucie Public Schools. Why? Because we know that you represent the brightest and the best in the teaching field. So with that, do you mind sharing just a little bit with our viewing audience, a little bit of your background?
Sure. I am currently a proud high school English teacher at LPA. I teach 9th grade English and also 12th grade IB English. In my career as a teacher, I've also taught middle school, both for the district and outside the district. And I'm also the department chair. So.
Welcome, welcome. Doc, would you introduce yourself?
Certainly. Michelle Harrington, the proud principal at Lincoln Park Academy and proud alumna.
Yes.
I'm excited to say that I've spent my entire career in St. Lucie Public Schools as a student, as a teacher, and as administrator, and there's no better place to be than Lincoln Park Academy.
So, Ms. Slocum, tell us this. What do you make about being selected to Teacher of the Year in LPA?
Well, it's a great honor. It's a great honor to be chosen by my peers, that they think this highly of me. And I just hope I can live up to the title.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. So, have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher?
Yes, since I was a child.
So, who inspired you?
That is a tough question because I was thinking about that. I don't believe that there was any one particular person.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a series of really wonderful teachers that I could name off, and throughout all of my education, it's just there was never any other career to choose.
So, do you think that those teachers influence how you work every day? And if so, share with us how you think their influence is transferred over to you.
Sure. I'll give an example of my high school English teacher. She was our AP literature teacher. And I think that was the first time that I had a teacher open the floor. We had so many Socratic seminars. And so our class was just constantly in conversation with each other while she was just there listening and maybe guiding a little bit. And that was when I knew I wanted to teach high school, because she was hearing us, but also letting us sort of work out, have these really meaningful discussions with each other. And I think that can be done, you know, in middle school or high school. But I take that time, both as a junior and a senior. I had her for 2 years, and I think that's the most influential part that I take into my classroom today.
One more question before we ask Doc to jump in. What do you find to be the most enjoyable part of teaching?
When my students know that they're like when they know the material or when they've been successful and they voice that to me. I can read data, data's great, and I can see the success, but when they acknowledge their own success just on their own, coming out of a progress monitoring test and seeing their score, being so happy, that's why I'm in that room with them, to teach them so they can be successful, and then they can feel confident in themselves.
So, Dr. Harrington, I stop by and say, hey, take me to visit your Teacher of the Year. You walk me into the classroom. What would we see? What would we hear? What would we experience?
Well, you're going to see students engaged in learning, but engaged in conversation. And so as Ms. Slocum just described her own high school experience in her AP Literature class, that's exactly what you would see in Ms. Slocum's class. We recently had a team of district administrators who walked into Mrs. Slocum's class, and when they came out, all they could articulate was how proud they were of the student conversation happening in her classroom. She facilitates discourse, she facilitates learning, but students are the ones doing the work in the classroom, and students are the one talking. You'll also hear students laughing. She builds great relationships with students. Students want to be in her really rigorous English classes because they like her.
Describe her for me then using 3 adjectives, and share with us why you've chosen those descriptors.
So the first adjective would be generous. And I say generous because being a great teacher requires the giving of your time and yourself. And Ms. Slocum does that every day. She's incredibly generous. The other would be she's committed. She shows up for every event. She's often seen at girls' basketball games and girls' volleyball games cheering on her students. And then last would be exceptional. I mean, when we think about a Teacher of the Year candidate, we're looking for someone that is an exceptional representation, not just of our school, but of our district. And Ms. Slocum is absolutely exceptional.
So, Ms. Slocum, when did you first fall in love with teaching?
Well, in the beginning, when I first started, but even more so, and probably in the last maybe 3 years or so, teaching is a difficult job. You have to want to be there. And there are moments when maybe we don't all want to be there. Our students are, you know, we can't figure out what we need to do to make our students successful, or we've had a tough day. And I think in the last, and I'm not really sure what it was, but there's just a change for me where I feel very settled in what I'm doing, that it's the right place to be, I'm put there for a purpose, and even with tough days, I still see the reward in being a teacher, and it's always about my students at the end of the day.
So what inspires you?
I think the students and their success, and when they have a light bulb moment, even if they're not doing well, though, that doesn't mean that I give up. You know, they deserve a teacher who is giving 100% when she's in the room with them. And even if we have a bad day, we just start again. They're human beings. They have lives and personalities, and all of that contributes to the inspiration and how I run my classroom.
Let's have some fun. I want to play a speed round with you.
Okay.
I'll throw something out. You give me your first response. Favorite food?
Spaghetti.
Favorite movie?
Runaway Bride.
That was fun. That was a fun one. Favorite sports team?
I'm not a big sports person, but probably the Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes, great answer. Great answer. We pulled it out last night. Favorite song?
Oh, I don't have an answer to, because music is, I love so many different types of music. I think it would be hard for me to pick a favorite song.
Okay, understand. So do you have a favorite quote or motivational saying?
Yes, from Shakespeare's Hamlet, to thine own self be true.
To thine own self be true. So, Dr. Harrington, share with us what makes Mrs. Slocum the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year.
So when you're looking for a representative for your school, for Teacher of the Year, you're looking for exceptional. And as I mentioned before, Ms. Slocum embodies exceptional. The hashtag for Lincoln Park Academy, we say the hashtag the LPA standard. We've been the standard bearer for many years. As an A school for 24 years, Ms. Slocum has been at Lincoln Park for over a decade. And so she embodies the LPA standard because she is exceptional. And that's what makes her a great representative for Teacher of the Year.
So, Ms. Slocum, we ask you to bring along with you a prop that kind of describes you as an educator. Share with us at this time, please.
Okay, well, my prop is this bottle of water. It has nothing to do with the label. I was just thinking about the purpose of water and why do we drink water? We need it for our bodies to run. And my classroom is like a body. There's moving parts. Every child contributes something different. They could be a hand or an arm, but we need to be together. And I guess, and this isn't to elevate myself, but in a way a teacher is like water. We have to hydrate the room and sometimes bring life to it. And if we're not doing what we need to be doing right, is the body really going to work the way it needs to? And so just in terms of, I guess, my classroom, you know, a bottle of water can sort of represent, you know, how a teacher sets the temperature and makes the body work.
So, as the ambassador for education, as Teacher of the Year, you are the ambassador for education at Lincoln Park. You have an opportunity to speak with colleagues, policymakers. What's your message?
At the end of the day, we have to remember that our students are human beings, and we have to treat them as such. Data is important, their education is important, what's in the textbook is important, but they have feelings, they need to be heard. And I think that great teachers and successful teachers are listening to their students and then moving accordingly. And teaching isn't just about, you know, getting weekends off and things like that. It's about knowing that we have children in front of us and they need us and they need to feel confident so they can be successful members of society in the future.
Thank you both for joining us today. Ms. Slocum, thank you and congratulations on selection as Teacher of the Year at Lincoln Park. We're looking for some more exciting things.
Thank you.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
excited at this time to welcome to the Teacher of the Year Spotlight Show, Mr. James Tobin, who's a wonderful, wonderful, fabulous teacher over at White City Elementary. Welcome.
Well, thank you, and I'm very, very happy to be here today.
He's brought along with him the very proud first-year teacher at White City, Mr. John Davino. Davino, welcome.
Oh, thank you, sir. Yes, I am very excited to be at White City.
We are excited to have both of you with us. We are excited to have this opportunity to introduce just a couple of our teachers to our regular viewers because it gives them a peek into the dynamic teachers that we have work in St. Lucie Public Schools. With that being said, would you please briefly introduce yourself to our viewers?
I'm the art teacher at White City Elementary. I have been there now, this is my 4th year. Prior to that, I was an international educator for about 9 years, working in China, Taiwan, Russia, and Singapore. So I like to bring that global perspective to my classroom.
Mr. Davino, introduce yourself, please.
John Davino, and I've been at White City for almost a half of a year right now. Prior to that, I was at Sam Gaines for about 15 years.
Cool. That long?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, Mr. Tobin, Teacher of the Year for White City. What do you make of being selected for this honor?
I feel very humbled. I feel like it's a deeply rewarding experience. I was very ecstatic that the other teachers felt that I deserved such a recognition. There's so many hardworking teachers at the school, so it's just very, very rewarding to feel that they chose me.
So, have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher?
No. Oh, no. When I was younger and in kindergarten, my mom used to tell me, all I would say is I wanted to be a Dalmatian. I had one of those Golden Books series that was about a Dalmatian that just rode on the fire engine the whole day. Mm-hmm. And that was my first profession, apparently, that I wanted. But later on, I had started to work in the arts, and I wanted to become an art history professor. And I was granted the wonderful opportunity to go overseas and teach English in China. And that's when I discovered that my passions really lied in educating young students. And I have continued on doing that ever since.
So when you think about discovering your passion, your word, do you think that there's a teacher that kind of influences how you interact with your students, teacher or group of teachers?
I would say the biggest impact for me was as an IB educator, seeing other IB educators teach children in an inquiry-based manner. That really changed my view of what teaching could be, and I implement that almost every day in my classroom. I try to strive to make my students risk-takers, inquirers, make them take the leap to do something more.
What makes you a good teacher?
To be a good teacher, I don't think it's any one thing. I think it's more or less when you see the students learning. You see them maybe having these little individual sparks with the content that they're learning, and they're able to just go back and create and add on to what we've worked on, be able to apply that knowledge. That is when I know that I'm doing something right, when I'm on the right path.
So, Mr. Davino, to be selected to be the Teacher of the Year over at White City, we know that that person has got to be involved in the total aspect of what makes the campus work, not just their classwork. Share with us some of those things that we might find Mr. Tobin participating in.
Yeah, so Mr. Tobin, like the way I would describe him is he is a culture builder at White City. He, as the art teacher, he gets to touch every single kid that comes into his classroom across the entire campus. And what I'll say when I'm looking for an excellent teacher, it's someone that first and foremost cares about kids. And he makes sure that every kid that comes into his classroom knows that they're loved, knows that they can take those risks, and they're willing to do that because of what he puts in. Around campus, it's definitely within PBIS. This man basically runs half of our PBIS on campus. He makes sure that there's activities that are engaging all the time for kids going on to keep them motivated, and most importantly, keep them wanting to come to school.
So describe him to us, please, using 3 adjectives, and I need, only 3, 1, 2, 3. I saw you, you're manipulative, I saw you. But also elaborate on why you've chosen those 3.
So my first one, I would say, is creative. Mr. Tobin is an extremely creative person. Since the first day I met him, he was at the campus, and he was actually working on making a classroom sink work for his room, because there wasn't a sink in the art room. And he would go every day.
An art room without a sink?
I know,
yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
He would make a sink happen every single day so that the students were able to access like the paints and everything that you would need a sink for. This guy did that. The second word I would say is his passion. He's not only passionate about art, but he's also, like he described earlier, he's very passionate about teaching kids. He wants to make sure every single kid has that opportunity to express themselves through art, but also knowing that it's a school. And so he also wants to make sure he brings in the reading and the math. Like, he ties that in through his art room to benefit the kid as a whole, but also the school as a whole. And then finally, my third word would be, this one I'm stealing from the children, because they told me that Mr. Tobin is the nicest guy around. He is sweet, he's caring, he makes sure that he's kind to everyone. He's a model of kindness on campus for not only the kids, but for the staff as well.
So, Mr. Tobin, there are a lot of things happening in the field of education as we speak. What do you think is one of the most challenging, one of the greatest challenges facing education?
One of the greatest challenges that I see teachers facing is there's a lot of hands telling us what to do, and then the teachers' control is a little bit less. And it's the people on the ground, the teachers, that are seeing what the students need, and sometimes they don't have the authority or ability to do that. I would say that would be the greatest challenge that teachers are facing.
Piggybacking off of that, if I may, if there was one thing that you can change about education, what would that be?
Looking at education right now, I would say the biggest thing that could help teachers would be giving teachers just a little bit more control. I'm thinking back to when I was teaching in Singapore. They had the highest science scores for several years, end on end. And one of the things they did was they had a few requirements in elementary, which would be, you need to do X, Y, Z during these terms. And then they gave a few weeks for teachers to allow students to figure out what is something else, how they want to extend their learning. And given that chance to allow teachers to help students extend that learning, I found to be more valuable. Myself, when I taught as an IB teacher, I would teach a unit on how the solar system works. And I had students that we would go through about the solar system, and we would understand it, and then we would have a little bit of time to extend. And I had one group of students that just wanted to know nothing but dwarf planets. And so we got heavily into what each of the dwarf planets were called, where were they located, what were their size. And then next year, students chose that they wanted to focus more on the individual planets and their moons after we learned the required content. And so allowing them to extend gave them ownership of that content, and it actually made it a little bit more richer in their understanding of it, and their content, the way they retained it afterwards, was greater.
So, Mr. Davino, what makes Mr. Tobin the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year?
Well, having been a Teacher of the Year myself, Mr. Tobin represents what we want here at St. Lucie County. He, safe and caring schools. He's everywhere. He's involved in POBS. He makes sure when kids come off the bus, he's there. He is outside interacting with the students all day long to make sure every kid on that campus feels like they have someone that they can go to. You've heard already through what you've said, like, he has a personal mission in educating students, and it aligns with what we do at White City and in St. Lucie as a whole. His compassion and his care for making students want to be engaged in their learning is evident every single day that he comes to campus.
So, Mr. Tobin, we've asked you to bring along a prop with you that kind of describes you as an educator. Share that with us at this time.
My prop that I've chosen to bring with me is actually the apron that I wear in class. And I get several responses from my students about why it's so messy. And I tell them that when we are creating, we don't create in a pristine environment. Things are not planned. Things do get messy because we try and we experiment, and how things end up is glorious. And I really just love how it looks, and the students have come to like, oh, there's a new mark on it today. For me, my journey through education was not the standard one. I started out as a student with severe learning disabilities and ADHD, and I struggled for several years. And for me, I thought I had to fit in a box. And then I realized one day, it's okay to be messy. It's okay not to fit in that box. And that's what this represents.
Cool, cool. So as the Teacher of the Year at White City, you are automatically the ambassador for education. Have an opportunity to speak with constituents, parents. What's your message?
My message is to teachers and faculty and families would be, we're here to help the students. Our main goal is here for the students, and we will do everything we can to help them and educate them and make them citizens of the world.
When will you know that you are a success?
As I think I touched on before, I won't know I'm a success until I see it in the students. When I see that they are able to be risk takers, able to ask questions, able to create and develop on their own, that is when I'll know I'm a success.
Mr. Tobin, Mr. Davino, thank you for joining us today. Thank you so very much for sharing with us, and congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
Honor it is to welcome to the Teacher of the Year Spotlight Show, Mr. Robert Kemp, who is the awesome Teacher of the Year at the newest high school in St. Lucie Public Schools, Legacy High School. Mr. Kemp, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. And I know we're the newest, but we're also the best.
See, I need to say, you're not going to get me in trouble. You're not going to get me in trouble. He's brought along with him our great friend, the proud principal there, Mr. Todd Smith. Mr. Smith, welcome.
Good afternoon, thank you.
So this is so exciting to welcome the new kids on the block to the Teacher of the Year celebration show. Tell me, what do you make of being selected as the very first Teacher of the Year for Legacy High School?
Well, it's quite an honor because literally we all got there a week before the school year, and a lot of brand new faces, and to have our staff select me when I barely even know them. I've only been with them half a year. That shows that I've had some kind of an impact on them, and it's been quite an honor and quite a journey so far, and we're just letting the legacy begin.
Building the legacy as we move forward. See, I got it, Mr.
There we
Smith.
go.
You taught me well. So, have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher, Mr. Kemp?
I think so. You know, it goes back to when I was a young kid. My dad was a former teacher here in St. Lucie County. I went to the great school, FK Sweet Elementary School, had a great time there, and that's really when it started for me to want to become a teacher because of the great teachers that I had there and the impact they had on me.
So, what school did you graduate from?
So I grew up in St. Lucie County, started at Francis K. Sweet Elementary School in 1999, and then went on to LPA from 6th to 12th grade, got my associates in high school with dual enrollment, did the Promise is a Promise with St. Lucie County, graduated from the University of Central Florida with my bachelor's in social science education, and then I was at a job fair up there, and I taught at Treasure Coast High School for 10 years, and now I'm at Legacy High School. So it's been quite a great journey.
It was important for me to get that in because we are really excited when Homegrown comes back and shares with students here in St. Lucie Public Schools. So thank you for sharing that with us. So when you think about you as a teacher, would you say that there's someone or a group of teachers that influence your makeup as an instructor?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it starts from kindergarten to 12th grade, and I could probably name every single one of my teachers, and the impact that every single one of them had on me was tremendous. And growing up living with my grandmother and mother, she was a formal special education teacher and really grounded me in the importance of education. So a lot of it goes to my grandmother as well, and her quite ambassador. She was quite an ambassador for education, so she had a long impact with me with that.
What do you find is the most enjoyable part of teaching?
I would see the impact that you have on your students. You know, in St. Lucie County, we have a lot of different students, a lot of diversities, a lot of different social economic backgrounds, and these kids have a lot of things going on outside of school. So to be able to build relationships with those students Some are a little quiet with you in the beginning of the year, don't say much, and towards the end of the year, they're having full conversations with you, and just the reflections that they give me every single year. I mean, I work for the children and for the students, and I think that's pretty special is when you see them write you letters and how grateful they are to have someone believe in them.
So, Mr. Smith, you've had an opportunity to watch Mr. Kemp over the year and years. If I were to visit, say, take me to some classes, and we ended up in Kemp's class, what would I experience? What would I see, hear, and or feel?
Upon walking into the classroom, you'd see a highly structured, nurturing environment when students will freely engage in conversations with each other, and they provide feedback with each other. They're set in a position, because it's an ACE class, they're set in a position to articulate a claim, defend a claim, and support the claim, then also give feedback to their peers as they work collectively in that. So it's everybody feels welcome, everybody's attended to. There are no rules in that classroom either. Mr. Kemp has, by designation, is the teacher of record. When you walk in there, it's everybody's 100% engaged in the process.
So, Mr. Kemp, what inspires you?
What inspires me is students that have someone that believe in them. As Mr. Smith just brought up, teaching an ACE class. A lot of people think with ACE class, those are college level courses. Only kids that have high IQ should be in there. I disagree with that to an extent. I feel any kid has the opportunity and ability to achieve greatness. And really, you asked me a question earlier, what are some of your, I believe it was, what are some of your biggest accomplishments? It's more of those students that I have that are level 1 or level 2 reading level who can barely write a paragraph. And then by the end of the year, they're able to put on a full argumentative essay, write it, be confident in it, and then pass their ACE exam. In the beginning of the year, they had no confidence and didn't have anyone that would believe in them to do that. And then by the end of the year, they're on a high level. There's nothing more special than that.
Mr. Smith, describe Mr. Kemp for us, please, with 3 adjectives, but then elaborate on why you've chosen those 3.
First one is that he's proactive. Upon accepting the position to come to Legacy High School, unbeknownst to him, in my mind, he was going to be my department chair and also my ACE coordinator. So as he joined the team, he started fulfilling some of those responsibilities as ordering ACE materials, aligning workshops, training for the future ACE teachers at Legacy High School. The other thing about that, he's motivated, but it's motivated in a different aspect because he's motivated for his students. He demonstrates the self-motivation, but in turn, he puts the students in a position to be successful and demonstrate that success. And the last one would be reliability. Okay, I know if I look to my left and to my right, and if we're having a crisis on campus or we need someone to step forward, Mr. Kemp is always there. And it's one of the roles that he's looked at right now, because as you look at his role on campus, he's a social studies department chair, he's the ACE coordinator, most importantly, he's a social studies teacher, but he also is a golf coach, and he runs a specialized program for the sports information directors where he assists in the athletic department. So he's from 7 o'clock to 3:30, 4:30, he's 100% engaged.
Cool. What gives you, Mr. Kemp, the greatest professional satisfaction?
I would say what gives me the most professional satisfaction is understanding. I'll give you an example. I had a student a few years back, would not say a word to me. Anytime I'd ask a question, she would message me on Teams, wouldn't say a word. So throughout the school year, I'm thinking, man, what's going on here? Is this kid not liking me? I've tried every trick in the book. Come to find out, I get called to the front office. I get a card from the grandmother writing me a long thank you card saying, my daughter talks about you every single day when she gets home. She has some communication issues and is very shy, and we're trying to overcome those things. And as the years go forward, I taught her in 10th grade. She comes back every year and starts having full-on conversations with me. And to me, those are just the little things like that that really make my job special. And the background with the young girl was, it's crazy some of the situations you hear with students and what they have to deal with on their home life. So the most important thing is building relationships with your students and getting to know them and trying to open up different aspects.
We ask you to bring along with you today a prop that kind of describes you as an educator. You mind sharing that with us at this time, please?
Absolutely. I'm old school, so I still have a filing cabinet, but I keep this old folder with me. I was at University of Central Florida, and a professor told me once, you're going to have rough days teaching. You're going to have days where you're going to want to pull your hair out, and you're going to be drained. But have this special folder. It's pretty much any letter or card or a student has ever written to me. So this is why we teach, is all these different letters and thank you cards, and just shows the impact that you make on these kids and their future. But any day I'm having a rough day where I need a little extra motivation, I just pull this out of the old filing cabinet and take it out and read a couple, and then I'm ready to get back to work.
I love it. I love it. As a principal, I used to give my teachers every year a folder that says, "You're awesome." And and it was that idea that every time you get a letter, there's going to be a day when you're going to have to be reminded just how awesome you really are, and that's where you should put it. So, Mr. Smith, what makes Mr. Kemp the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year?
It's his openness to accept all responsibilities as they're set forth, but his willingness to step forward outside the scope that's presented and make sure he holds his students accountable, his peers accountable, and they set that expectation of excellence.
So, Mr. Kemp, let's close it out. As the Teacher of the Year for Legacy High School, knowing that you're also helping to build the legacy at Legacy High School. Have I said Legacy High School enough?
Absolutely.
Okay, Mr. Smith. I just want to make sure I pass the test. You are also automatically the ambassador for education. What would your message be should you have an opportunity to talk to policymakers, constituents, parents? What do you need them to know about education?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think from a standpoint policy with government, I would say more of, providing resources for teachers in a sense of healthcare, those kind of things, retaining teachers in those aspects. But with parents in the community, I would say creating more programs for social economic students and having a safe environment for them. So continuing to build off that and create funding in those aspects.
Well, it's certainly been a pleasure to be here sitting at the table with you, Mr. Kemp, with you, Mr. Smith, especially knowing that this is the first year of Legacy High School and the wonderful things that we know that are already happening there, and celebrating you as the first Teacher of the Year for that school. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and congratulations on your selection.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.
Our pleasure to welcome to our Teacher of the Year Spotlight Show, Ms. Cassie Miglioria, who's the wonderful Teacher of the Year over at Palm Point Educational Research School. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Great. She's brought along with her the dynamic principal there, Ms. Dana Makowitz. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So this show gives us an opportunity to introduce just a few of our teachers to our regular viewing audience. It's cool for us to be able to do that because it lets us kind of give a peek into the dynamic teachers that we have working here in St. Lucie Public Schools to our supporters, to our viewers. With that being said, would you please briefly introduce yourself to our viewers?
Absolutely. I'm Cassie Migliori. I work at Palm Point. It's an amazing school. I've been in St. Lucie County since 5th grade, graduated from Port St. Lucie High School, went on to IRSC, and then went on to Florida Atlantic University, got my bachelor's. I did the AIT program, which is that Accelerated Teacher Program, which led me to St. Lucie West K-8. Worked there for about 7 years, and now I'm a proud Rocket. and so excited to be here today.
And we're so excited that you're one of our very own.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we
Yes,
love
sir.
to celebrate our homegrown, and it's really exciting when they come back to work with us here in St. Lucie Public. Ms. Markowitz, would you introduce yourself, please?
Of course, I'm Miss Markowitz. I have been at Palm Point now going on 10 years, but this is my first as principal, so it's such an honor. I also grew up in St. Lucie County and started my career at Bayshore and as a teacher, teaching 3rd and 4th grade, and then went through the elite program where I became an administrator shortly after. So it's been a joy, and even Mrs. Migliori, we went together at FAU and did our undergrad together. So it's awesome and such a privilege to be with her today.
So, Ms. Migliori, what do you make of being selected as the Teacher of the Year for Palm Point?
Oh my goodness. First of all, such an honor because I'm surrounded by, I feel the best of the best. I have colleagues that I've looked up to. I went to Palm Point because my sister worked there and just spoke so highly of the school, and I was like, I have to be here. So to not only represent the school, but to represent people that I look up to and I learn from, and it's just a very humbling experience for sure.
Have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher?
I am that story. I loved school. I loved to be in the classroom. I was that child that would organize the library. I would go home and make my sisters play school. I loved to teach. In high school, I did a lot of volunteering when I went back to the elementary schools and taught drama. And I was just like, whoa, if this is a career, like, get me in. And the more I did it, the more I just fell in love with it.
Cool, cool. So what, because you knew that you always wanted to be, when you reflect, do you think that there is a teacher or a group of teachers that influenced your behavior as a teacher today?
Yeah. Like I said before, I was in Port St. Lucie in 5th grade, but I had a 4th grade teacher in Palm City. Her name is Mrs. Petitella, have to say her name. She was one of those teachers where I can put myself right back into that classroom. I could probably tell you multiple names of the students that were in that classroom, the lessons we learned, what she wore, how it smelled. She just radiated joy and kindness to an effect where you didn't want to leave. And that community and sense of family that I had in 4th grade is just truly something I want to do every single day in my own classroom. I want them to leave every day having that same feeling that I had when I was in 4th grade.
So I'm going to ask that you look into camera 1, you look into camera 2, I'll look into camera 3, and on the count of 3, we're going to say thank you, Ms. Petitella, okay? Ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you, Ms. Petitella.
Yes.
Awesome.
It's because
Absolutely.
of wonderful teachers like that inspire the next generation of teachers to help us continue to move forward and do those good things, those right things for our students. So one more question for you. What do you find to be the most enjoyable part of teaching?
Definitely the moment, I'm a 1st grade teacher right now, so even watching students at that age grab from their own toolbox, use a strategy that I have taught or another teacher has taught them, but they do it independently, they get that sense of pride, they get excited, and they just radiate joy, and they make those connections. And then they look at me for like, oh my gosh, I did it. Not so much we did it or you taught me, it's I did it. And it's those connections that they make, and just hearing them talk to their peers or to anybody in the classroom, and they use the words that we use in our classroom conversations, is just showing me like, this is what it's all about. These children are growing and learning and using the resources that we teach them.
So, Ms. Markowitz, I dropped by and said, hey, I got to go see this dynamic Teacher of the Year. I know she's in 1st grade, and you take me to that room. What would I see, hear, feel, or experience when I walked into Miss Migliori's classroom?
So when you walk in Miss Migliori's classroom, it is full of engagement and students collaborating with one another, and you can just feel, just like she talked about with her 4th grade teacher that made such an impact, you can feel the joy and the kindness radiating in her room. There's an energy like no other in there, and when you do visit, it's almost like you don't want to leave because you could see how she taps into both the minds and the hearts of her students. So it's just such an amazing place to be, and you can just see the learning growth and excitement that the students enjoy every single day in her room.
Would you please describe her for me using 3 adjectives?
Sure. The first that comes to mind is dedication. She goes above and beyond in everything that she does, including both for her students and families and also her colleagues. She makes an impact both in and outside of her classroom. I'd also say inspiring. She really taps into the motivation of her students and also our school community. And just through her passion, it's incredibly contagious. And that also leads me to the third one, which would be compassionate. Just like I said before, she creates such a nurturing and loving environment, and it's just such a beautiful thing to see. So that compassion and that kindness and joy just shines through all that she does.
What inspires you?
What inspires me is knowing that my job is just not a job, it's a mission. These students are going to one day be adults and be in the community. And it inspires me to let them know that I'm here for them, and I want them to know the community is here for them, our school is here for them, and that they have somebody in their corner. I feel like along the way, if somebody has told them, I'm here for you, they know that they can do anything and that they have somebody who's there for them.
To date, what has been your proudest professional achievement?
To date, I'm going to have to say this nomination. Again, I work at a school where my children attend. The teachers and the caliber teachers that are at Palm Point are outstanding. I learn from them every single day. I listen to what they say. I hear the words that they speak. And to know that they saw in me my passion enough, and I've had some of their own children in my class, so they know me both as a colleague and a real teacher behind the scenes, and for them to still see that I'm worthy of this meant the world to me.
So, Ms. Markowitz, what makes Mrs. Migliore the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year?
She is the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year because she just exudes that excellence in teaching and learning. And I think that she is the type of teacher that you would hope all students get to experience throughout their school career. She just, from tapping into what the students need and to help them reach beyond their potential, to being the perfect teammate and helping new teachers and collaboration. And she is just all-encompassing. Like I said, she taps into both the hearts and the minds of her students, but also is such a great person to lean on and support, and is always striving for the absolute best that our school represents.
So I asked you to bring a prop along with you to kind of describe you as an educator. Share with us.
Sure. So my prop, actually, I'm wearing them. Statement earrings have kind of become a thing for me. My students know it. I know it. They look forward to seeing what theme or holiday, what earrings I have to match. But today I did choose triangles. My first mentor, when I was in the accelerated teaching program, shared with me something that just stuck with me and has always stuck with me. She told me that the relationships that you build are, it's you, the student, and their parents. And you have to continually keep that flow going. Tap into the students, yes, curriculum, academics, data, all of that. But remember that, yes, they're a name on your roster, but they're somebody's world. So you need to tap into those parents as well. And if you can do that, then you're going to be okay.
Before we wrap it up, let's have a little bit of fun. I want to play a speed round with you. Favorite food?
Steak.
Favorite restaurant?
The Gafford.
Favorite movie?
Ooh, easy. Grease. Was obsessed.
Oh, Grease, the Grease lightning. Okay. All right. Favorite sports team?
Go Buccaneers.
Go Bucks. A favorite song?
The Dance by Garth Brooks.
Okay. What about a favorite quote or motivational saying?
I'm not sure, but I'm a quote, it is the best thing in life to hold on to is each other.
Okay. Ms. Markowitz, is there anything else that you may want to share about Ms. Migliore that we haven't already spoken about?
I just think that this year, we always do a school theme for each school year, and this year it's Palm Point where the magic never ends. And I think that is just so true of her classroom. It's a place where the magic happens, and and that's truly what she represents. And also, you talked about your mission. Our motto at Palm Point is mission ready, and I think that that's exactly what she does for her students, is make sure that they are ready for their next mission, and that she truly believes that all kids are capable of being successful.
So let's close it out, Ms. Migliore. When will you know that you have been a success?
I think I'll know that I'm a success when, at the end of the day, I know that I've put in the work. I know that I've done what I can to reach those students. When those students come back to me and share their goals, their dreams, their wishes, their hopes for the future, and even if it's something as small as I won my soccer game on a Saturday, the fact that they shared that with me, I think lets me know that I've made that connection.
Well, thank you for continuing to shape the minds and the hearts of those little ones that are in your care each and every day. Thank you both for joining us on the show, and congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow, what an amazing show. Now, this show was about celebrating the mentors who inspire, motivate, and support our students to become better individuals. Our special program honors those who shape the future. Teachers bring enthusiasm, passion, and nurturing to their students, making a difference in ways they may not even realize. This show was our way of pulling back the curtain to honor those who have gone above and beyond the call of duty, those whose dedication and commitment to the teaching profession deserves our highest praise. This show is our thank you to teachers for their selfless service and to say, job well done. Thank you for joining us as we honor the educators who light the way for a better tomorrow.
Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders. We are St. Lucie Public Schools.